At this time, I would like to acknowledge Heidi Caldwell, who is retiring from the zoning board after 24 years of notorious service. She will be greatly missed for her knowledge of the town and the way the town operates, and I think she deserves respect of every member of the town. And I'd like to motion for it.
Give her a moment.
You're here?
Change of venue.
You might want to leave that coat on.
These are my questions for you.
Oh, right, yeah.
Once it shuts off too. Stop.
You have to roll up your sleeves.
Okay, Rosa.
I'd like to call to order meeting of the Foster Zoning Board at 7:03 on the 13th of December, 2017. Let's start with a roll call. Secretary.
John Esposito.
Present.
Heidi Caldwell.
Present.
Paula Macho.
Here.
Tom Haramo.
Yeah.
Holly Rivoli.
Present.
Robert DeLuca here. David Palino here.
All members present. First off, we'd like to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. We'll entertain a motion for approval.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Has everyone read them?
Yes.
Are there any questions on the minutes? Okay. Vote, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Any correspondence, communication?
No correspondence.
All right, tonight is a little bit different. It's an open meeting, everyone's welcome, but this is an appeal hearing. A little bit different. You will not get an opportunity to speak tonight because it is an appeal hearing. It is not up for discussion. Do I make that clear?
I just have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Wasn't it advertised as a public hearing?
It is advertised as a public hearing, however, it is simply an appeal. We made, the board, the chair has made the decision that they're not going to take public comment into account when making their decision. It's simply whether or not the cease and desist follows the zoning ordinance.
And that's allowable under a public hearing,
Yes.
defined as a public hearing?
Yes, and for appellate procedure, yes.
Say again?
Was the notice, was the notice for the Calucci?
That's taken care of. That's taken care of. Yeah, there's another, we'll bring that up
Yes,
at the time.
yes.
Okay, we have, this is an amendment to the hearing procedure. Once all the testimony is heard, the board will recess in place for discussion, as we normally do. No further testimony will be taken from the floor once the board is recessed. It doesn't apply in this case. The board will then come out of recess. The chair will accept any motion, and it is the board's procedure that each motion must be in the affirmative. Now, it'll be read in the affirmative, and that does not imply the acceptance of the application, but it's just for legal jargon, that's how it's done. A vote of 3 out of 5 will be necessary to reverse the decision. If your application is approved, the decision will be finalized at the next monthly zoning board meeting. No building permits may be issued before the decision is finalized. If your hearing is denied, you have the right to appeal to Superior Court within 20 days after such decision is recorded. The board reserves the right to postpone the decision until the next scheduled regular meeting on any hearing. Proceed. We have an application for an appeal on a decision that was made by our building inspector to issue a cease and desist order. There has been no application for any variance or special use permit. This is strictly for the appeal. Perhaps Brett, if he's present, would you care to read the letter?
So just state the name of the record, please.
My name is Brett Bishop. I'm the building and zoning official of Town of Boston.
Brett, would you mind standing so you can hear?
The letter was sent out September 11th, 2017. To let St. 23 LLC, also known as Ryan St. Croix, that he was in violation of the Gloucester zoning ordinance, Article 4, Section 11, subsection 13, mining, quarrying, or loam stripping, and also subsection 23, gravel banks. The rest of this letter just refers to cease and desist this activity.
But you did make reference to specific,
Yes, specific areas of the ordinance. I can read it. My eyes aren't, the lighting's not that good, my eyes aren't really the greatest, but.
Mr. Bishop, I'll ask you a few questions. Can you tell me the address of the subject property?
9 Mount Hygeia.
And can you tell me specifically what the violation at this property was?
It was both of the above. There was stripping of loom and gravel removal.
And can you tell me your basis for the violation? Meaning, how did you know that there was a violation?
Okay, I visited the site several times over, since the project began with the land clearing. When it came to this point, I visited the property and saw that there was stump removal, loam stripping, and gravel being pushed around. Until this date, on September 11th, I did not view with my own eyes anyone trucking gravel off the premises. So this was the date when I saw the trucks coming in and going out carrying gravel. So I knew gravel was being removed. So that's when I acted and sent this violation out.
Does anyone have any?
board have any questions?
I have a question. I was told by Red. Oh, right, correct.
Okay. Well, we're just gonna let Rhett give his information, and then you can go forward with your complete appeal, and you can ask Rhett questions during that time, okay?
These are just questions for the board.
Oh,
Too, Brett. I have a question. Was it numerous violations that you witnessed?
Two sections of the ordinance. And that's what the violation states, those two sections. There was a gravel bank operation going on there, and also the quarrying, mining, quarrying, or loam stripping. So I cited him for both those sections.
And those were in direct, in your estimation, in direct violation?
Yes, the land use tables are clear, and those operations require a special use permit.
This was not- Any other questions from the board? Go ahead, Lee.
Brett, I have a question.
Yes.
After we entertained some time ago a special use permit that was subsequently withdrawn from the applicant, have you had any discussion? Has there been any attempt for the applicant to reach out again and get direction or anything from the town? Or is this basically the first time you've interacted with the property again? Withdrawal.
Since then, no, I've spoken to Brian since then. And he's, he let me know the direction he was going. I believe he is being advised by an attorney. And he let me know that he was under the assumption that he was covered by the Right to Farm Act. That was the discussion Brian and I had. And that may be valid, it may not be, I don't know.
The board understands that. So basically, the applicant continued based on the premise that he felt he was within his right to continue,
Exactly.
without the special permit granted by the town.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Because you were only concerned with this violation to the town, not
This is, this is one of my duties as a zoning official for the town, is to enforce the zoning ordinance. So I don't know enough about the Right to Farm Act. I just know the ordinance, yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
People out in Gloucester buy a piece of raw land, and many times they will excavate it so they can do what they want to do. And people own their own machinery, so they, a lot of us have done it. You go in, you dig it around, you have the right to sell what's on your land, if you want to sell wood, if you, whatever you have there. So everyone who does that, who excavates their own land to build their dream, everyone has to get a special use permit if they want to take a rock out or things like that. So I'm not understanding, I guess I'm not understanding the cease and desist, because to me, you buy a piece of land, you excavate it, and you build what you want to build. So I guess I'm missing it.
This is not digging a garden or.
I understand, I visited the site, I've seen
Yeah,
it.
so this is acreage, this is a commercial operation, basically. So that's very different from someone, making a pasture or something. You still, when you clear more than 5 acres of land, there are things that come into play. Gloucester has also in its ordinance erosion control. So if you at your house sometime decide to clear more than 5 acres of land and decide to pull the stumps and everything, you would have to comply with Gloucester's erosion control plan.
Is that written in the ordinance that there's a 5 acre, that you can't touch more than 5 acres without?
No, that's, that gets into more, the clearing of the land, you need a foresting permit. And yeah, the ordinance, the erosion control deals with larger parcels like that, yes.
The big question for representative
No.
So we can't hear the game.
I'm asking if that was the only date that vehicle, trucks were seen entering and leaving the property.
No, it wasn't. That was to document. So that was the date. I dated this picture and signed it that day because I witnessed it that day, but I saw trucks out there.
So is that the real issue, the fact that there's a truck taking stuff out?
Yes.
So if there wasn't a truck taking things out, then the cease and desist would not have an issue? Because you had said you did multiple
Yeah,
site visits.
actually, yeah, honestly, if the erosion control plan, this is the way I view it, if the erosion control plan is in place and the foresting permit is in place, and you're not violating any of DEM's requirements, the state of Ohio, I would say you would be okay. And the fact that this gravel is rolling out on trucks for sale makes a difference.
So if I had gravel and I couldn't.
If you wanted to sell gravel from your property,
Yeah.
you'd be going through the same process of a special use permit. You would need permission from the zoning board.
And
That's the way I read the ordinance for the town process.
so,
You got any idea of how much was involved? To answer your question, Paul?
How much?
Yeah, how much could you estimate? How many truckloads went out? Do you have any feel for that at all? Multiple, obviously.
I'll tell you, the trucks, you can see it's a large truck, probably
23 yards each.
18-wheeler, a large. Probably, when I was there, they were rolling in and out about every 20 minutes.
That's just what you were there.
so
We're not ignoring you, but we switched
No,
around.
I'm
he's
just
gonna-
very confused because I was told that you guys are just voting on the violation, which is trucks leaving the property. I have a RIP-Piece permit, I have a stormwater permit, dewatering from
We're
the
not
state.
getting into that.
The only thing that we're
We'll have
voting
plenty of
on
time.
is the mining, quarrying, and essentially the truck.
But the mining and pouring is covered under all the permits that I have.
Not for the town of Foster, you need a special use permit.
it was stated in the beginning that no discussions.
We'll all have a chance.
He's the applicant.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry.
Mrs. St. Croix, you can put your presentation on next, just like.
We switched it around. Rather than you first, we decided that it'd be better if we let Brett do his description first. And then because you're looking for an appeal, you will come second. I guarantee you'll have all the time you want.
I was just told that I could do anything on the
I'm
property
sure
in
you
my
will.
permits except,
But we-
I have
we'll
it
get
on
into
and I recorded it too, so.
We'll get to that.
I can play it.
Any other questions for Rick? Dave, did you have another question?
Just to wrap it up, Brett, what you witnessed, you classified as a violation of section 7, subsection 13, mining.
Yes, and also subsection 23, gravel land.
Of the Foster Town.
That's correct.
If there are no other questions, then we'll let you sit. Anything else to state at this time?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay.
Does this board supersede any state agencies such as the DEM as far as qualifications and specialists allow any environmental as far as me clearing the land and removing all the boulders and stuff like that? Does the DEM come to you guys and ask you, after they've done all their research, after all the engineering is done by their engineers, they come to you and ask you if it's okay? Or is that something that I get, and the only issue is me taking the trucks off of the property? Because that's what I'm told, is this special use permit is supposed to be just to remove the trucks. All the other permits are, everything's engineered. It took me 1.5 years, you know? And I've got $1 million spent over there, so everybody thinks I'm going somewhere. It's not gonna happen. You know, I follow your laws, and it said, what do you want? You know what I mean? What do you need? What is needed to do what I wanted to do? So I got a package together, I followed the laws, and it became like this witch hunt that I'm building a gun range, a racetrack, a mosque, and everything else. And that's not the case. And if you guys are run by rumors, I just assume you vote on this, and I'd gladly go to court because I'm right. That's why I don't have lawyers here. It cost me $10,000 to bring specialists here that nobody listens to. They just shake their head at them. I mean, this is serious stuff here. This is somebody's life. I've spent a ton of money. You know?
I'm not questioning that, sir. What we're questioning is that you did something that is illegal in our town. It is definitely under our guidelines that you do need a special use permit for what you did.
Under farm.
You have, not talking the Farm Act, not involved with that. But it's yet to be proven whether you can do anything with that. We have nothing to do with that. All we know is if you got legal advice, he should advise you, just as if you're building a house and you want to put electricity to that house, you have to pull a permit.
Okay.
A special use permit is required for what you are doing, and it's been proven that you are doing it.
Right.
We've got expert testimony that you were doing it, and so we've got photographs.
What am I doing that's illegal?
Mr. St. Croix,
Yeah.
I just want to tell you that I, for one, am glad that you're back in front of the zoning board. I want,
You know what?
one second,
I don't
one
want to
second,
sue
not
anybody.
a debate, not a debate.
Right.
We treat everybody fair. We don't arbitrarily decide on speculation. No one here is trying to make a decision based on hearsay or innuendo, or no one has a crystal ball.
Right.
We're here to vote on your special use permit request measured up against the laws of the town, the ordinances of the town, the facts that we receive. If you don't come before the board, we can't vote on it. We have no say. So right now, you've decided, under the testimony from the building official, you've decided to treat the mining or stripping of the land as a business venture where you're taking the stone and gravel out and selling it. That requires a permit in this town. That is a business venture. You are selling the products. That's a little bit different than if you're moving dirt around for your own use at your home. I understand that you may see it as a little gray, and maybe you think there's a witch hunt, and that's tainted your opinion. But I can assure you that here, we're going to vote on the facts. We're going to give you a chance to present your case. We feel in the town that these ordinances and zoning, these special use permits are set up to protect the rest of the residents of Foster, not to hurt you as a resident. So why?
One second, can you swear in?
Mr. Saber, would you raise your hand, please? Do solemnly swear the testimony about to give you today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I want you to feel like you can come to this board like any other resident and get a fair hearing.
The whole point is, I do not wish to hurt the town, anybody in the town, or sue the town. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna stop because I can't. I can't afford to leave that place like it is and just say, oh, well, there's a few neighbors don't like it, they accuse me of shooting at them, which they took to the state police, right? And the state police found that they
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me.
Like-
We got enough on our table.
No,
I understand.
I know what I go through.
I understand what you're going through,
But
and
We're
not the
getting,
least of
we're
which is
getting,
monetary.
I think we're getting off base here as far as.
Yes, we are.
So,
You've got to understand that you're in a town that has laws, and
understood.
they have requirements. Now, they may be different than Cranston, they may be different than Johnston, but we have them here. And if you have legal representation, that they should be aware that we have certain binding laws. And from what we can see, you have disregarded those laws, whether knowingly or by accident, an assumption that you went something to do with farming, which we have nothing to do with, we're not getting into that, but you assumed that you could do what you're doing. I'm sorry, sir, you assumed wrong. It's very easy to fix. Get yourself a special use permit. Make the application. In the meantime, you are in violation.
Well, I did in the advisory board, the
You
planning board.
canceled on the last time,
No, the planning board,
yeah?
they all voted no except for one person, and I met all the requirements. And I was told that the zoning board, much like the planning board, will fold under the pressure of the community because they don't want to deal with it. And then,
I take exception with the word fold.
fold, that's what I was told.
I don't know who told you that, but I do not like that word, if you will. We do not fold.
Right.
We're keeping within the law that has been sent down through the years for our town.
Right.
And we expect the residents to adhere to that law.
And I'm following the direction, the lawyer, when they asked me what I am building, I said, I'm building giant hayfields, I'm expanding the horse farm. I'm gonna put more stalls up there and stuff, and they said, well, you're actually extending the horse farm. I'm like, yeah, there's no paddock, there's no turnout, there's no nothing. There's some other things that I wanna do, but.
Obviously well thought out.
Yeah, but now, under the Right to Farm Act, what I'm
Can you tell us the basis of your appeal? Because I think we're getting a little bit off
I know,
base.
we're-
But You've
thank you.
appealed the cease and desist, so please tell the board why you feel the cease and desist was.
You guys, did you
Issued
get
an error.
Did you get the package of the 35-page? It gives you the definitions, of the reasoning from Lee Allen.
That was sent to my office quite some time ago, yes.
All right, so,
And a response was sent that the town is not in agreement with their position.
so then, now, when I had called Rhett and spoke to him at the town hall, he said, Brian, you can do whatever you want on the property, you're covered by the permits that you have. The only thing you can't do is take the trucks off the property. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna start working clearing. And then when everything gets to that point where I have to start taking trucks out, then it's either we're gonna go to court or we're gonna do a special use permit. And I just don't wanna cost the town money. And I'm not trying to,
But so can you clarify
Because
to the
it
board what
also-
the basis for your appeal
because
is?
it opens me up to lawsuits from different neighbors. Once I filed a special,
With all due respect.
That's of no concern of ours at this point, sir.
I know it's not. but it's
Okay, then let's
concern
try
of
it.
mine.
Let's get back to the appeal.
Yes.
Why are you appealing? On what grounds are you appealing?
Because under the package,
That packet was not sent to the zoning board, and it was not attached to your appeal.
this,
Was not sent, it was not filed as part of your appeal.
Right, but you guys have got a letter before, why?
Yes,
So this should have been attached to the appeal?
if that is your basis, probably, yes.
I would think, Mr. St. Croix, you'd have to want to admit that as some sort of evidence in defense of your defiance of the ordinance. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
do you understand what the ordinance says? Do you understand the difference between moving dirt and stripping and selling or mining gravel at that quantity from your property?
Yeah, with surface mining, I mean, I haven't, everybody who, you know, has something to say on Facebook or wherever, I always tell them, come on over, I'll show you exactly what I'm doing.
Listen, sir, with all due respect again, just asking you, do you understand the ordinances that you're breaking, the violations?
No,
You're,
I thought it was under the Right to Farm Act, and that's what my lawyer told me.
You're
getting-
welcome to paraphrase why you feel it's under the Right to Farm Act.
This is a different meeting than I thought. I was told that they're just voting on what Red said.
Right, and so I'm just
So,
asking you,
we're giving you a chance
you
to
have the
defend
opportunity
yourself.
to say why you think the cease and desist was improperly issued.
Oh,
So
We want to hear your side.
because under the Right to Farm Act, there's been 4 other cases that are just like mine. Well, I think it was the Adler, was it Adler? Whatever, it's all in here. Well, what happened is, the guy wanted to dig a pond to create more water, so that he had extra water, you know, water the grass and everything like that. And the town, he didn't get a special use permit, so the town stopped it. And when they went to Superior Court, they found that under the Right to Farm Act, he does have the right to dig ponds, just like I'm doing. And I do have the right to make the ground fertile, to plant whatever I want. I mean, it's just, you know, all the talk of, show me my property better. Okay, what's the matter?
All right, continue.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a construction worker. So I have good lawyers, I just didn't bring them because I don't want to impose all these, you know, the engineers, the lawyers, this whole line of people again, because
Sir, do you understand that the appearance is going to be to the board that's trying to give you a fair shake?
no,
It's going
I wanna
to
hear you
appear,
guys-
it's going to appear to us that by withdrawing the special use permit application, by violating a clear town ordinance that we have no right to disregard, we don't. We're volunteers to uphold the laws of the town as they're written. We're not here to argue the laws, we don't create them.
Right.
We certainly can't break them.
So I guess-
We're just here to interpret the law. We're giving you a chance to tell us why you felt you were correct in violating the ordinance of
because
stripping gravel and selling. In the quantity that we evidently, it's not a wheelbarrow full.
No.
It looks like a 20 or 30 yard dump truck.
yeah,
Yeah. How many do you think you've taken from there so far?
no idea, because I've got a lot of deliveries too over.
1, 2 truckloads, 10, 20, 30?
I know that I can take out 10,000 yards a year.
Okay.
As a farm, you can do that. I don't know if you saw that, but.
I don't know. I've got nothing to do with the Farm Act. This whole board has nothing to do with the Farm Act.
Right.
All we're talking about is your violation, sir. Now, if you had been advised that the Farm Act would overrun our decision or the zoning board, you are ill-advised,
Okay,
because it does not.
okay.
Now, as far as you're quoting past decisions of the Right to Farm Act, let me tell you how the zoning board works. Anything that we decide in the zoning board is not taken any further than the decision that we make for the individual. We do not set a precedent at the zoning board. Every case that comes before us is brand new. So I don't care what happened with the farming board.
Oh, no,
It won't
this-
make nothing to do with it. But if you said your neighbor did the same thing and he got away with it, we don't want to hear it.
No.
Because we don't set a precedent for them and we won't set a precedent for you. So all we're wondering, all we're trying to decide here is, and you have admitted that you are in violation of the articles set forth on the Foster.
Just one.
Just one?
The trucks. The stripping and everything else. I was told by Red that I could do that. I could stump, I could strip. I have it in writing, I have it on recording on the phone. I have everything.
you referenced two articles that you found him in violation.
Yeah, they both refer, one's gravel bank and one's mining and stripping.
Well, are we looking at them separately? Are they two separate articles?
Yes.
Then you're in two separate violations. Sorry, sir, you're ill-advised.
So, let me get this straight. So, what you guys do supersedes the state, the DEM and the state?
Essentially, all we're here tonight to do, all the board is here to do, is essentially, you are appealing Rhett's decision, and they sit as super zoning officials to either say Rhett's decision was proper or was improper.
Oh, I came here fully expecting to lose. I didn't come here to win. I knew everybody was gonna, show up. I mean, yeah, I wanted
Brian, can I call you Brian?
Yes.
You're really not being fair. You're making a mistake, because some of us that or at least I, came here open-minded, ready to listen to a good defense. Well, you're not giving yourself or us anything to work on.
See, this is, I was not informed in the right way, otherwise I would have my lawyer here, because I'm not a lawyer.
And again, like the chairman said, you were ill-advised.
Then why was I told that I can strip and mine on my property, and then all of a sudden, now I have a violation?
No, that's not the case, sir. You were never told that you could violate that ordinance of selling that gravel and moving it off the property.
I didn't say anything about selling.
Well, moving it off the property, you're trucking it off, where is it going?
No, but the mining and the stripping.
Yeah.
The violation was not issued until you started removing it from the
Right.
So
property.
what is the violation? Just to be clear, is it the trucks?
The violation is of those two separate sections, but it occurs as you start removing it from the property. Correct, Rhett?
Yes, it's considered mining, stripping, and gravel bank operation. It's pretty, I mean, it's cut and dry, Brian. It's even simple for me to understand.
But why was it, nothing was issued until the trucks were seen going on the property? So I would assume from that
Triggers the other one.
that is a allowable thing, and the only thing not allowable are the trucks. But if you have a farm, you're allowed to sell.
If you have a farm, you can do anything you want on your farm. You can
Sell whatever you want,
Don't all
As
your
long
work
as
is
sell the
done
product,
as a mining operation, then
it's
it's
a
a rate.
raise. You can move all the dirt and rocks you want from anywhere you want on your property.
Still worth the farm, right?
When you go into a commercial operation, you start selling, that's where this comes in.
So again, it's trucks going on.
No, it's selling.
It's
It's the
intent.
removing,
It's
it's
the
not,
removing and the
it's the
intent.
removing, even if you were carrying.
The only thing
on.
where I'm from,
One at a time, please. Right.
where I'm from is, I've been talking to a lot of different people. What they do is they give a piece of whatever the yardage price is to the town. That's what, I mean, I live in Plymouth.
All you need to do is file a special use permit.
That'll clear it all up. File for a special use permit, and you can do whatever the permit says.
I mean, did you guys see the packet that I can put in before?
No, it only went to the planning board.
She says I don't, but I
Really?
don't know from day one.
The zoning board does not see anything until you actually present the application.
That way, Mr. St. Croix, you get a fair
Gets
hearing.
started.
And the planning board is just advisory, it's not binding on this board.
And the reason that they went for the special use permit is I had a lawyer first, I gave him $60,000 and he said, oh, yeah, I'll get permits and everything's done. No, that wasn't the case, he kind of screwed me. And then I got another lawyer who told me about the Right to Farm Act, and this is what you were supposed to do. That guy gave you the wrong advice. So now I'm over $100,000 in lawyer's fees. I mean, this is like, it's ridiculous.
I gotta be honest with you, sir, again, I'll say it one more time, you never gave us a chance to hear your case. You took it away.
Can we break it down simple? I like the things simple, square, black, white, one price. You're building a house. You're not gonna dig that foundation without going to town hall, because you know there are permits that are necessary.
Right.
And how do you know that? Because you come into Forster and you say, look, I want to build a house up here. Now, what do I need? Oh, by the way, I'm going to have to blast some ledge. Not unheard of in Forster. Oh, I need a special permit for that? Fine. What do I do? Now, you come in and buy 125 acres give or take, I don't know what it is. And you've got these plans, well thought out. And whether they're gonna benefit the town or hurt the town remains to be seen, it's not an issue here. But you come into town and you say, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and we'll worry about the permits later.
I got my forestry permit first, and it was hung out on the tree, and then they cleared the land.
Fine.
And then after that was done, I got all the engineering and everything like that done, and it was submitted to the planning board. Now, when the planning board
Why?
looked at it, oh, no, you can't do that. And I'm not even using a town road. I'm using Route 94, which is an allocated state trucking highway. I'm not doing
And you
it.
went to DEM, and you got them to qualify what you were doing, and you
Right.
went through a lot of expense,
Right.
but it was necessary because
Right.
you're in a watershed. And you did everything by the book.
Right.
And you're to be commended.
Right.
But you didn't come to the town and ask them for special use permits.
They
Well, you did, I'm sorry. Then you decided you didn't need it.
They pulled it. One lawyer told me, yes, do it that way, and then the other lawyer said, no, pull it. And then, that's when all my DM stuff, and I went to rec, I'm like, can I work on the property? And they said, yeah, stump it, move anything around as much as you want, which I guess I have the right to do, argumentatively, but inside the property. When I take something off of the property, that's when the violation.
So change the intent.
Unfortunately, you're finding out the hard way after the fact, and it's gonna cost you.
So, question for Red. If the trucks were removed from the equation, okay, no more, if there were no
It's
trucks.
it's the removal of the gravel and loom from the property.
Right, so the trucks leaving the property
Yeah.
Triggers.
with the gravel and whatnot. If that was not happening, then the cease and desist would go away with,
It wouldn't have happened.
okay,
He would have been pushing, he would have been regrading, which he had an erosion control
Yeah.
plan in place. Brian and I walked the property with him. And he had a DEM approved plan, a RIP piece permit, that showed the digging of ponds and regrading of the property, approved by DEM.
You agree with
So-
that, Brian? Makes sense?
So the last step in this whole thing was the special use permit.
So do you understand that you decided to move forward in this last step under the advisement of your attorney, you said, for the record? You said you went this final step of removing the gravel, knowing that that was the step that was going to require the special use permit? You did it in spite of your knowledge of the facts?
No, because they told me I had to.
Well, that's what you ruled, you decided based on their recommendation that you were not going to submit to the ordinance.
They told me I was under the right.
That's not my question. You made a decision to go ahead based on their recommendation.
Based on their recommendation.
How can you expect us to rule? You have no defense.
I don't expect you to rule.
Just as long as we're clear, you didn't give us a chance.
I mean,
thought we had that information from the attorney's office.
I thought that you guys saw the whole plan. I thought you got the packet that explains the direction that I'm going.
So that packet was never made part of your appeal. It was sent after the zoning, maybe after the planning board, quite some time ago. The town responded and said that they were not in agreement with what was said and that you needed to go forward with the special use. And this appeal came, but none of that was attached.
I have a stack of books this high of all the permitting stuff.
Fine.
Now, what is the deal that they said, okay, well, if the zoning board approves you, and you get approved by the zoning board, and then you may, one of the neighbors can file a restraining order on it, just kind of like they do to Trump, you know what I mean? And they file a restraining order. Well, that's what they do. They file a restraining order on whatever law is agreed to.
Let's bring it down to Foster.
Well, I'm just,
But
that's
you're
the
not,
only,
the
it's the
board
only thing I know.
can't, you can't say, the board does not control the neighbors. Whether or not they issue a special permit, they don't control the neighbors. And
So if I'm issued the special permit, I don't know. This is,
It would be, in my opinion, Brian, if you went through the process and you were denied a special use permit, I could see you moving forward. If you were not denied a special use permit and someone harassed you or tried to stop your lawful execution of the special use permit, then that person would be in violation of the law.
you get sparks behind me.
Listen, no, we don't, I don't wanna get into
But if
individuals.
the town is
but-
giving you the right to do it,
So,
Let me explain to you what the zoning board
I don't get it.
involved in this. You don't care? Well, that's
No,
fine.
no, I
I
don't
don't
get it.
get it.
I don't
Oh,
get
I'm
it.
sorry, okay. The zoning board, you came before us and you asked for a special use permit.
Yeah.
And the last meeting that we had, we were going to address that. And it was at the school, and it was quite well attended. And 20 minutes before we opened that meeting, I was handed a letter from your lawyer saying that you were dropping your application. Now, what happens when you do that? It made a lot of people angry that night because people wanted to speak. And I said to him, I'm sorry, you can't speak because the application is gone. The zoning board has nothing more to do with this. And this is a zoning board meeting. And it's my job to keep order in the zoning board meeting. That's the last we've heard from Mr. LaCroix until we were informed that Mr. LaCroix was in violation of our well-written bylaws for the town of Forster. Never mind the Farm Act, never mind Cranston, Johnston, wherever. The town of Forster has very explicit guidelines, and Mr. LaCroix is in violation. So, Mr. LaCroix comes before us and says, look, I want to appeal that violation. What can you do for me? That's why we're here. Let's get back to that and let's address that.
Had I known that, I would have just brought the.
I'm sorry if you weren't aware of that, sir. You
I
could
was-
have called and said, could you expand on that a little bit? And you would have been told if you'd called me, if you called the planning board, if you called the town clerk, just as it read.
I did.
Oh,
I talked to the planner today, and she said they're just voting on Red's violation, and that's it.
that's it.
that's it.
That's it.
Well, what's your defense to the violation? That's what the board needs to know.
Right, I'm under the right department. That's what I was
It's not a
told.
good defense.
That's what I was told.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, so what should
Can
I?
I say one more thing for the record? Get it on record? I think you should understand that the board represents every resident of Forster. Regardless of what your abutters say, you're given the chance for a fair hearing. And we do our best to try to be educated and give everyone in this room the same fair chance that you would get. So the fact that you didn't give us a fair chance to hear your case is a decision that you made. Well, and I just think
I
that you
was told
should
that
have
since the
given us a chance.
the planning board denied, there's no way you're gonna get through the zoning board. These are all the things that I'm told. And after spending that much money, it kind of scares.
Somebody told you that the planning board would not allow you to get the zoning?
No, the planning board's recommendation to the zoning board
Yeah.
is.
It is a recommendation, you understand that? Your words, go ahead.
Right, so it wasn't gonna go through with the time. Had I known,
Again,
I would've.
this is very off topic. We're just
Yeah, we're
here
not-
for the appeal. So Red has given his reasoning for issuing it. Your reasoning for appeal is that you feel you don't need a special use permit to do this activity?
You know what, I don't even know anymore. I get, you know what I mean, I get told so many different things, and I've spent so much money, and it's got to the point that it's ridiculous. I was, you know, I don't have a clue. I'm a construction guy, I'm not a legal expert.
I gotta ask a question. The only reason you don't want a special use permit is because you're afraid that the neighbors are gonna put restraining orders or whatever on you. Is
Yes.
that it? That's your only reason you don't want it, because it's a very simple process. What else could it be?
That's one of the big reasons, I guess, because if they do that, then it can just drag my thing out, which, I mean, of course, I'm gonna countersue them, but I mean, I don't wanna get involved in that. I'm here to build a farm, I'm not building anything but that. That's all I applied for. Everything else went for rooms.
Again, we're extremely off topic. So,
He asked me why.
I know. The
But so,
issue
if
before us
if
is,
you vote tonight, that means that you voted that Rec was right on the violation, not that. And then if I submit a package for a special use permit for next month, is that what you guys were thinking?
That's what I suggested.
Well, if you had a special use permit, you wouldn't be here.
No, I know,
It wouldn't be a violation of anything.
Right. I was
You
told,
decided not to get one. You didn't
You
give
had
us
a better way to
chance.
do it, and,
I didn't have a better way to do
well, you
it.
thought you did.
I'm telling you what these lawyers told me, and you know what I mean?
But Brian, you understand, how do you expect us to vote any other way?
Whole amount of times.
No, I don't. I expect it just.
You have no defense other than you don't think we're right.
Told him not to.
Well, you're saying that your defense is you don't need a special use permit. That's what you're saying?
I don't know, I paid like $18,000 for property tax, and it's like I can't get any help here. You know?
These rules, we're trying to help you.
All right, no,
No,
Right.
nothing, no, you can't. I'm sorry, man.
No.
I really am sorry, but we can't. Okay? You understand how this works?
No, I understand, I was
Fine.
just
Okay.
asking the building official a question.
So I should submit for a special use permit.
You don't
It's up
have
to
to
you.
do it, otherwise
If
you're
that's
gonna-
up to you, this is a free country. It's up to you.
We're not being hard-nosed. We're really not. We've got a set of bylaws, just like everyone has. Every town has got bylaws, whether it's thou shalt not rob the neighborhood store or whatever. You've got bylaws, and you're expected to live by those bylaws and respect them. And that's all we're voting on at this point. But you don't give us an awful lot to go on here.
I think you don't understand, Brian. We're giving you a lot more respect than you think.
If you guys were gonna, like the meeting that they pulled out of, right? And you guys should have had that packet of stuff.
We can't, how could we rule on that?
Oh, you don't- you don't-
No, we can't.
You don't see it before you get
It's got nothing to do with this. What happened back then, we weren't given an opportunity to even research or listen to the testimony or anything.
Right.
It was taken away from us by the decision that was made. So it doesn't matter what you brought then. It only matters what you're doing right now.
I don't care how thick that packet is. You just
you can
said
still,
forget about it.
you can start the zoning board, you don't have to start again at the planning board. You can do your application here, if that's what you wish to do.
I have a question. If the cease and desist order goes through, the activity that it was doing prior to pulling the trucks out, does all of that activity need to stop as well while we're resubmitting to the zoning board?
It should stop, yes.
I'm sorry?
It should, yes. Unless you request a stay or something of that effect.
Excuse me?
I didn't realize that. I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
We can request a stay.
No, I was on the phone, I was hoping it would go away.
We were just discussing amongst ourselves, if we uphold the cease and desist order from the building official, does your operation stop completely? Meaning, does it stop the excavation or movement on the property, or does it stop trucks from leaving? Which is an important interpretation. That we would need to know.
If you would stop.
And to expand on what Dave's saying, if you were to stop, cease and desist, the illegal operation that you're carrying on now, and it is illegal, we've proven that. You've agreed that it's illegal by town ordinance.
I agree that taking the trucks off of the property is illegal, right?
Is
In violation.
in violation. Yeah, okay, so we've reached a point on that.
We would need to.
We could have a vote.
We could have a second line talking.
Yeah, we can.
That's it, yeah.
Just
All
the
right.
trucks.
Do you understand that?
That it's just the trucks.
Yes, that if we vote in favor of upholding the building official's cease and desist order, it only limits you to no longer removing material from the property.
But it can still work there.
you can still work on your property, right?
They can't remove anything.
But you can't violate the ordinance. We're not giving you permission to violate the ordinance.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yeah, then what happens if the order, just a curiosity, if you violate it, the trucks keep leaving?
If
What
you
happens?
continue,
Yeah.
there is a fine that is imposed on a daily basis, and then the town would seek injunctive relief in Superior Court.
And I don't want this to be misconstrued, Brian, but if you continue to violate the town's ordinances and wishes, how do you expect that to be of any value to you if you eventually come to the town and look for a permit to continue your work? I mean, if you have a change of heart and decide that you should come to the zoning board and apply for a special use permit, what kind of a relationship are you building as a resident of the town if you're going to continue? And this is my opinion. What kind of relationship do you think you're building with your town and your zoning board and your neighbors if you continue to violate willingly, disregarding the law? How would you expect us to treat them?
I mean, I do respect you guys and the board, and you know what I mean, what you stand for and the laws of the town. Like I said, I'm not here to hurt anybody, it's just, I get pulled in 10 different directions all the time. And all I think about is all the money I've spent. And if somebody tells me, if you do this, and it drags out, it's gonna drag out for a long time. Which, to be quite honest with me, it wouldn't matter. I sold some properties, I'm financially set. So, that, I don't want to cost the town any money. So if you want to, you know what I mean? I'll apply for a special use permit for next month in a packet. But I don't know what my legal team says about it, because they're not here.
Well, then you gotta get your people in order. If you want it by next month, make it work.
Right.
If we're willing to give up our time, and we can publish it in time, and meet with you, and take another look at it, and not have it go away an hour before the meeting. Now look, this is what we're presenting to you. Are you willing, at this point, you're under oath, are you willing to cease and desist? If you say yes, we'll take that under consideration. If you say no, then we're gonna hit you for $100 a day.
I got a problem with that.
Okay, Tom?
I think you're putting Mr. LaCroix in a position where he has to make a decision that would impact his company without legal assistance. And I understand
Okay.
legal advice isn't here on his wish not to take legal advice. I think we're kind of getting a little beyond what we should be doing in reference to holding someone to say to us, okay, I'll stop. I think we're meeting here tonight to make that decision. Then if we make a decision one way or the other, whatever he does at that point is obviously his desire. If he violates it, or if he gets approved and he continues his operation. Well, I think to put someone in a situation where, do I agree to do something, I don't think we're in that position to make that kind of offer.
All right, we'll discuss that. But if nothing else, the purpose of this meeting was to make him aware
Correct.
of how the town feels about it, and spell out exactly what violation is involved, and let him be aware that we are aware of his violations.
And another thing too.
You got the idea?
Yeah, I know, but you gotta understand too that there's been so many rumors floating around that then I get told a lot of things by the townspeople. And I hear things like, oh, the zoning board is so happy that you're not even going to them because they don't want to deal with the repercussions of all of the people that are gonna show up and be naysayers about it. Even though you follow the law, again, they said, oh, they'll probably fold under it, so I'm like,
You're ill-advised. That's what we're here for, to hear complaints. We're getting away from it again.
What do you think from neighbors and on Facebook and all this stuff? So
Told him that a whole time.
you want to know what the truth is, you call the time.
right,
And pose the questions that whatever it may be.
right.
Okay? And the neighbors do have a right to voice their opinion. If we were at that point of, say, a special use permit.
Right.
And we'll weigh everything. I can speak for everyone on this. I'm not gonna say we're not swayed by the neighbors, we do one of these things, okay? And I can honestly say, you don't have any more impact than them, and they have no more impact than you. And in my opinion, I read up on what I'm gonna do, and then I'll make a decision on the way things are presented. So when you wanna know the truth, is what I'm trying to call the point I'm trying to make. Just call the town planner, call the town clerk, call somebody. Don't listen to rumors, or don't listen to the neighbors.
So all the rules that were written in order to get a special use permit are pretty much laid out, and the town kind of tells you this is what you need to do.
Yes.
I did all that, and then,
Then you stop.
I know I
fell
saw
short one step.
I know. And you
You
don't,
listen to the wrong person.
that could be my fault, but
It's not our fault.
Mr.
I'm
St.
We were
Clair,
all set to go.
I'm not here to blame anybody, I'm just telling you what happened and the reasons why. So you get an understanding,
we do understand.
If it, like when he asked me, make a decision now, that's how it's been for the whole year for me. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And all I keep doing is shelling out money.
Listen to what Mr. Durano had said, and I agree. You'll get the same fair hearing that everyone else in this room wants. There isn't, if you turned around and asked all the neighbors that you're talking about, they would admit that if they were here, they'd want the same fair treatment that we would give you. They would expect it. That's what we take an oath. We've all been trained to try to be fair and honest, but more than anything, to rule on the facts in front of us based on the laws, based on the ordinances. That's it.
Right.
And if anybody told you otherwise, sorry. I apologize, there's nothing we can do about that.
No,
You didn't
I-
give us a chance.
No.
Not saying which way we would have ruled, I'm
After-
saying,
After what I saw at the planning board meeting, I was like, oh my God. I just, you
We're gonna
know,
have to do it. This is zoning board.
I understand that now.
This is zoning board.
I did
We're
not
gonna deal
understand.
with zoning issues.
I make a motion that we have a discussion for vote.
Do you have anything else to say with respect to your appeal?
Yeah, the other thing that swayed me from a special use also was the fact that I invited everybody over for a walkthrough, and the board members, and a bunch of people didn't show up.
I didn't because it was pouring
It was a
out.
bad day.
It was a bad day.
I understand.
Right.
I thought it would have been canceled, and I work.
Right.
I was willing to take time out of work to go.
Right.
What did we miss? We saw the land, we're all familiar with the land. I mean, we saw what you were doing.
Saw your
Big
drawings.
undertaking. You get more from that's not the point here. That's not.
So anything else on the appeal before we close? Okay.
Okay. We will now go into recess, discuss it amongst ourselves, and entertain some kind of a motion. Tom, I think you brought up a good point, yes.
I think based on the reason we're here is the cease and desist, so I'm not going to approach anything else. Mr. Bishop stated that he personally saw vehicles leaving the property, hauling gravel or whatever. And as it's been brought up many times in this whole discussion, Mr. LaCroix keeps referring to the Farm Act, and it's totally different from what we're discussing here tonight. Farm Act is clear, you can move anything you want as long as it stays on your property. Mr. LaCroix went into a commercial venture where he was having materials hauled off his property for profit. And that needed a special use permit, which he did file, and we were ready to hear it. And at the last minute, it was withdrawn. So, in my opinion, the cease and desist was justified. And personally, I don't see where I could overrule Mr. Bishop's findings, because he saw the photographs of it. This is what he's trying to do. Personally, I don't see where I have the right to challenge his statement. If they want to go forward with this venture, he has to file another special use permit, and it'll be heard. And he was there, and he withdrew on the advice of his attorneys. Whatever his attorneys tell him to do or not to do, that's got nothing to do with us. That's between him and his attorneys.
That's right.
So that's my opinion. I mean, personally, I think we have to uphold this because it is a commercial operation, that, and he meets the permits, and he's almost there.
Any questions from this side? Ms. Caldwell, would you like to go out in flames?
She's frozen.
I agree 100%, you have to oppose. You have to oppose.
The decision that was made.
Yes. This is a
And,
commercial operation, you know,
I do have one question.
yes,
If his basis of what he did was based on the Right to Farm Act, does he have the ability to submit that now, or should it have been submitted with the application?
It should have been submitted with the application. I think he tried to give you some background on it now. The town had, well, I have seen the paperwork, it was sent to me, and I was not in agreement that it was under the Right to Farm Act based on what their attorneys had said. The case law that they had cited was completely different. That specific case, the town didn't have a special use permit, so the person was not able to do what they were going to do. Here, we have a remedy. You can get a special use permit. So I don't believe he's exhausted all his administrative remedies in order to allow him to now claim right to farm. There's nothing that says that you can't have somebody have a special use permit to do that type of operation.
And then if the cease and desist goes through, he can continue his operations if he does something else.
He can't continue to do what he's doing as far as violating the ordinance. And the violation is in the fact that he's removing material from the property. So if he continues to dig and regrade and everything is happening on that parcel, that's fine, he can do that. He can't be trucking out the material. So that would
that's all we're
stop.
addressing at this point.
But I think the fact that everyone keeps saying he's trucking material out, he's trucking material out for profit. That right there is a stumbling block. The way I understand it, the Farm Act does not even enter into this because he's not keeping the material on his property. The Farm Act
So
says
they can
like I said a minute ago, you can move your material all over your property every day of the week. You cannot take it off yourself for profit.
I don't want to get into a discussion on the farm.
Right, I think that the key thing to remember is, we're not recognizing that the Farm Act law.
I understand that, I'm just saying,
And
that
that
keeps coming up.
Right, but that wasn't, we weren't given a formal defense of the appeal of anything we can go on. We
Oh,
can
no,
only-
I understand that. I mean, I'm sure Mr. LaFoy understands that.
Yeah, I think we do know.
I failed to mention my opening statement that we do have a quorum without our alternates tonight, so they're free to enter into the discussion, but they will not be voting. Understood? Make note of that, please.
Oh, well, you had an educator. I mean, you had a different case, so help me understand.
I think that we're all in agreement that everything was cool until the trucks started leaving the property with material in it. So if we uphold the cease and desist, but Mr. St. Croix is allowed to continue his work minus the trucks, then I think that is a fair solution. That gives Mr. St. Croix a chance to fix what needs to be fixed. He can continue to work and he can apply for whatever special use permit that.
What if I give it away?
Pardon?
What if I give all the fill away?
Can't remove it.
I thought it was about money. You
I
said
think the
you can't sell.
discussion is to be held between us.
Oh, okay.
We're all done with testimony.
Right, okay.
Unfortunately, we don't have any more information to go on. I mean, everyone's saying, it's citing the Right to Farm Act. To me, it could have come into play because this is a farming community. Unfortunately, we don't have any of that information here to look at and to read. I would have loved to have seen that and have that.
But
I think we all-
for what we're voting on tonight, let's get back to the basics.
I think
That was my opinion.
I think what Paul is saying is interesting. I don't think it pertains to now, but I think it would have been wonderful to hear the case in its,
Oh, yeah.
in its entirety 4 months ago.
Okay.
Another thing,
Yes.
Don, is, since you just brought up, all you can give that away, he cannot remove anything from this property under any circumstances. In other words, he can't come in and say, well, I'm giving it to, just to get rid of it, I'm giving it.
Yeah, we're not
No.
going to go chase checks and whatever. No.
So it's just,
That's it. All right, we have to put this in, are we ready for a vote?
I think so.
So Just to clarify, is that what that means? So if we uphold the cease and desist, the only thing that Mr. St. Croix cannot do right now is trucks leaving his property. He can still work on his property
But he cannot
and
remove
stump
any
and
sort of-
all the other
I-
things.
That's
Correct, is
not-
that correct, Joanna? Okay.
It's going to be stated in the affirmative, correct?
Yes.
I think it's also important it's also important, one more thing before we vote, that everyone understands that Mr. LaCroix not only cannot remove product from the property, he can't violate any of the ordinances in the town, any that come up. None.
So that's a given.
Such as any that pertain to use of the property, special use, anything at all that falls under a category of special use ordinance is gonna have to be, it's gonna have to be looked at by the zoning board.
Well, I don't understand.
But
Well, we
right
assume-
now, we're just talking about the two violations that were.
Well, I know, but it keeps coming up that Mr. LaCroix can continue his operation. I don't know what his operation is gonna be tomorrow.
And so that's not going to be part of the vote. The vote is only going to be to uphold the
Cease and
cease and
desist.
desist.
Yeah. Okay, we're at a point where we can entertain a motion. It'll have to be a verbal one.
Right.
And it'll be in the positive. Okay, I'll make a motion to affirm the cease and desist issue on 9/11/17 to Saints and 23 LLC for the property located at number 9 Mount Aichi. Do you understand my motion? Any question on what I said?
Flat 14, lot 83.
I can't hear you.
Lot 14, lot 83.
Lot 14, Lot 83.
Second the motion.
We have a second. Any more discussion on this?
Yeah, I just want to clarify one more time.
Yes.
Chairman, that a vote in the affirmative means that we uphold the cease and desist, no more trucks leaving with material, but the work on the property itself can continue.
The only thing the cease and desist says is that he can't remove material from the property.
I just wanted to be crystal clear that that's what.
Yeah, I'm having trouble
Thank you
with that,
very,
too.
I just, thank you very much. Yep.
All right, let me repeat it. The motion is to affirm the cease and desist. So if you vote yes, you are affirming that the cease and desist is in effect, and we're upholding that. Correct? Does everyone understand that? A vote of yes would be affirming the opposite, affirming the cease and desist.
Upholding the cease and
Upholding.
So if we vote to affirm, we concur with the building official's decision to file a cease and desist. We agree with it.
Yes.
On the truck.
On the cease and desist.
That's what back and forth times away.
No, you're right. You have every right to understand what we're voting on.
So I'm not allowed to take anything off the property.
That's the violation.
That's the violation. And we're upholding, we're voting to, we're wording that the motion is to uphold the cease and desist, which was implemented by our agent, officer.
Is the law that's under, the width of the laws, or that just says like mining, this, that, and everything else,
So that's the name of the law that the trucking comes under, is it, am I correct by understanding?
I'm not going to interpret.
No, I'm asking.
The ordinance, that is the ordinance that it falls under.
Oh, okay.
Do you have a copy of the letter?
That's why it's written that
You
way.
have a copy of the
Yeah,
cease and desist? It's clear.
Right.
It says you're in violation of a specific ordinance.
I just wanted that was all check.
I agree. It's not clear. But it's, you have every right for clarity. We want you to be sure you understand. We want you to, we want you to feel like you leave here understanding what we did.
And I'd like to be able to come back there in front of you guys with them. You know what I mean?
And we'd like to be able to say, go ahead and do whatever you want, but we can't. You can't. We have to abide by the laws, that's why there are laws.
I'm gonna.
It's up to us to hold for the town.
Yeah,
So bear with.
all right.
A vote. Please poll.
Do you have a question, Heidi?
Yeah, I do
Board.
have a
No
question.
Heidi has a question.
Maybe I misunderstood, but shouldn't in that, shouldn't be in there that it's Article 4, Section 11 and so forth, shouldn't that be in the motion?
We're affirming that cease and desist.
Right.
So everything that it says
We're
in there
referring
is
to it.
approved.
So it doesn't have
It's
to be a
entire.
motion?
No.
Okay,
Correct.
Because we're referring to,
okay.
we're referring to the article where it's already stated.
All right,
We're voting
that's
on it.
fine, I
Okay?
just thought it should be
We're
in
voting
the
on it.
motion.
Please poll the secretary. Yes, poll the board.
Mr. Durano,
I vote to oppose cease and desist.
Ms. Macho,
I vote to oppose as well.
Mr. Chairman,
I vote to uphold.
I vote to oppose.
I vote to uphold.
Unanimous?
Sure.
5-1. So fast. We have one more thing on the agenda, which is, we don't have it on the agenda. There is something else listed, but it is stalled, so that we can't address it, but we will read it.
Yeah, you have to read it because it's.
Okay. There will be a continuation on this. This is an application for special use permit request, and it will come before us. We're mentioning it because it was published. The Forster Zoning Board of Review will hold a public hearing for property located at 0 Danielson Pike, being plat 14, lot, triple lot 3A, in a general business mixed-use GBM district on 2 acres. The owners and applicants, Michael S. and Judy E. Paolucci, request a special use permit from the Forster zoning ordinance. The special use permit is needed under Article 4, zoning regulations, Section 12, accessory uses. Any use customarily incident to a use permit in the district as a special use permit and located on the same lot to allow a residential apartment inside an office building in a GBM district. The applicant has not prepared sufficient,
The planning board has not yet issued an advisory opinion, so this hearing will be continued to the next zoning board hearing, which is January 10th.
At this point, future agenda items. We'll entertain a motion for adjournment at this time.
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman, we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourned at